from WBBZ-TV Sports. It's time to beat the champ. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Peck and Sue Novoitsky.
Well, hi, everybody. We're island hopping here on Beat the Champ as we've come to Grand Island, Mallwitz's Island Lanes, for another month of fun-filled shows with Sue Novoitsky and Mike Mallwitz in for Janelle Sabin at the moment. Janelle will join us later on. We are here for another fun month of action. I always feel like when Mike's on the show, we trade a little bit of beauty for unpredictability, don't we?
I know, and we haven't seen you in a while. We miss you.
We miss you too, and Paul, you just wait. You don't even know what's in store for you today.
That scares me in so many ways. We do know what's in store for us on the lanes here at Island Lanes. Andy Rettig, who is one of the best Beat the Champ bowlers that we've had, he comes here from Classic to face 3 new competitors.
Right, and we always talk about coming to a new center. Even though you're the champ, you're taking on a new condition, you're taking on bowlers that have bowled well here. And he's a left-hander competing against a bunch of right-handers today.
Yeah, we've got Frank Diminuco. We've got a new bowler in Frank Fitzmaurice from Rochester, and Rocket Rob Piccoli, who is far from a new bowler. That's our lineup for this week's show. I'm ready, maybe not necessarily for what you've got in store, but I'm ready. I know Sue is. The gang is ready, so let's get rolling. It is Rettig and Diminuco to get us started here. A month-long stay on Grand Island here at Mallwitz's Island Lanes. We've got some great bowlers lined up for you through the next couple of weeks of our competition. We're going to hit a little milestone with our Beat the Champ competition in a couple weeks. We'll tell you about that when it comes up. But Frank Diminuco will make his 4th appearance on our show, and he will start things off against Andy Rettig. From Mallwitz's Island Lanes, here we go with Beat the Champ, and Frank's going to get 9 and play for a spare in his first frame.
Yeah, this house is very typical of having to play to the right, but they're very dry. So we're going to see him start to the right, but they're going to be moving in a hurry. So Frank's got great ball speed. He could stay there for a little while. Bad break there on the 10 pin. I think that was a pretty good shot off his hand for, his first shot out.
Yeah, and we've seen Frank bowl very well. He hasn't gotten the win yet. That's what I know he wants to do here now, but this guy will have something to say about it because Andy Rettig knows how to win. He's won 13 times on Beat the Champ. This is his 14th appearance, and particularly here, he's been good, and he's been good getting here too,
Wow.
Which is interesting because Andy and I, before we got started, both figured out that this is the 2nd year in a row that Andy was our champion at Classic Lanes the month before and came into Grand Island as the #1 seed. So remember, he didn't have to qualify to be here. He's here because he won the last match a couple weeks ago at Classic, but that happened for the 2nd year in a row.
Well, I guess he likes Classic.
Yeah,
huh?
and then last year he won a couple. He won his first 2 matches here at Island Lanes. So even though coming in quote-unquote cold, not having qualified, doesn't mean Andy doesn't bowl well here. I mentioned the overall record for Andy Rettig is 13-8. He's coming in on a 2-match winning streak. Won his last 2 at Classic a couple weeks ago.
Well, these lanes tend to play real nice, and these 1-pin things is what we're going to see, and especially the 4-pin for the right-handers, the 6-pin for the left-handers. That's really where your indication is that the lanes are starting to pick up a little earlier. It's an easy adjustment, and it's his first shot on that lane, so we know that the lanes don't always play the same.
Right. So strike spare for Andy to get things started here in our first match of the day, and Frank will come back around over to lane number 8 to try to see what he can't do with his second frame. Last time we saw Frank was just a couple months ago in August when he lost to Chad Mee at Manor 2 lanes.
Inside a target for him there. This is one of the things with the ball speed that he has. He has very quick feet, and that's how obviously he's a big man, but he has quick feet too, and his feet got a little fast there. When you're quick, you have a tendency to pull the ball. That's what he did. He missed his target.
There's the vitals on Frank Diminuco, 34 years old from Tonawanda with a 230 average.
Oh,
When he's not bowling and delivering strikes, he's delivering the goods as a laborer for Coca-Cola, and he's sporting the colors and the logo there, as you can see today. Speaking of dressed in red, there's Mike Mallwitz manning the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard for us.
Well, he's got the hip down.
Yes, he does.
Good shot there.
Does Mike know that Janelle is going to be back here shortly, and that if she hears about that she'll have something to say about it?
Well, he's doing his best to know what it feels like.
So after the open in frame number 2 for Frank, he's trying to get himself another spare here, and he will in frame 3, but opening spare or starting spare open spare is not what you want to do when you're bowling a top flight guy like Andy Rettig.
Well, big difference in the tempo between these two guys. If you notice, Andy's a very cool customer. He always seems very relaxed.
He'll appreciate you saying that about him.
We've got Frank's. It feels like his speed is just a little bit fast. He has to just get that taper down a little bit.
Andy wanted to make sure that we wished his mom a happy birthday just in the last week or so. She had her birthday, so happy birthday to Mrs. Rettig, and hopefully Andy will bring you a little delayed birthday present here with a couple of wins on Beat the Champ. Boy, I feel like, we've gone from Janelle, and then Sue did the scorekeeping last week. I don't want to make a comment that we've downgraded a little bit, but
this feels like a good time to take a short break. We'll be right back with more action on Beat the Champ.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ. Let's get back to the action here on WBBZ-TV.
There you go.
that's 2 in a row for Frank Diminuco, and just when I said he needed to start knocking pins down, he responded.
Well,
what else do we know about the lane conditions and the personality here of the lanes at Island Lanes?
Well, this side of the house, this is a two-sided house. Scores tend to be very high on this side of the house, and we'll talk to Mike a little bit about the difference. I think these lanes might be newer. I definitely want to confirm that with Mike, but I know from bowling here that this is the high-scoring side of the house.
That's 3 in a row for Andy Rettig.
Well, Andy's not going away now, is he?
Nope. 48 years old, from Hamburg, employed by the Department of Homeland Security, is Andy Rettig, and like we said, he has been one of the stalwarts here on Beat the Champ.
And as you can see, they play pretty fair. We've got houses that seem to, one side may dominate over the other. We have houses that lefties bowl very well at. Some, they don't score as high. This seems like a very evenly matched house, as you can see with these two guys.
Yeah, Andy told me he always feels comfortable here, always bowls well here. Almost had a 300 in one of the competitions in our years past here. I think he took a perfect game to the 10th frame a couple years ago. So he's got, and that, well, I'll ask you how much that helps. When you pull up and you walk in the door of a place that you've bowled well, how much does that help?
In all honesty, I don't know if anybody would agree with me, but I think it helps a lot. Just like when you bowl league in a house and you just feel like you know the characteristics of it, and there's just a calm and a confidence that you don't have to try to figure it out.
And in turn, if it's a place that you don't bowl well in, you pull up, you dread that pull up to the front door and go and try to convince yourself that today's the day, right?
Well, you just kind of hope that you pick the right ball out of your bag. So when you go to a house that you recognize, you kind of have an idea of what ball you're going to start with, and then you can read from there. When you go to a new house you've never bowled at before, you're kind of just taking a crapshoot at taking one of your balls out of and hoping it matches up well, that you can make good reads off of it. And I think that's the biggest challenge coming to a new house, is just the starting point.
Can Frank get his 4th in a row? Yes, he can. So both guys working 4 consecutive strikes right now.
and his tempo has
slowed down, hasn't it?
Considerably.
Now, speaking of tempo, I don't know that there's anybody who's more consistent and calm in his tempo than Andy, and we'll let everybody at home just watch just how Andy is. There's no movements that don't need to be there.
No, and he just has just such an easy stroke about him. Now that one got a little bit to the left of him, and
didn't matter.
Nope, he got good hand in it.
5 in a row for Andy Rettig.
And if you notice, he's very, very steady at the line. When you fall off your feet and you're not planted at the line, then there's something off with your timing. And you can just see with him how most of the time he's pretty solid at the line.
Lots of X's on that board there from Mike Mallwitz on the Castellone scoreboard.
Yeah, they're making it easy on him, aren't they?
Yes, they are. It's early in the day. We're not asking Mike to think too much.
Oh, nice shot. Wow.
6 in a row for Andy Rettig.
That was textbook right there. Just how straight his swing was, how his follow through goes straight up. It's pretty steady at the line, holds his position. That was just a really perfect shot. And overall, Frank really has not done that poorly.
No, a little bit of the start, you know, that one open in the second frame, but like you said, other than that, he's working 4 in a row, and he's bowling well. He may be, that open may just put him too far behind. That open is
haunting him at this point. It's a 23-point match.
Yeah, that one didn't quite have the same rhythm that his others did.
Well, it's hard to be. The best thing that Andy could have done is, when Frank got going, is to continue to strike, because knowing he's behind, it puts that little added pressure on him.
So the run of 4 strikes in a row for Frank Diminuco comes to an end in the 8th frame with a spare. And we'll see whether he's too far behind or not. Andy will have something to say about that as well, too.
Well, Andy's so solid, it's hard to believe that he'd, have 2 opens in a row at this point.
And
that's why we bowl him out.
Yep, that's right. Back to striking for Frank Diminuco. So we go to the 9th frame for Andy Rettig, who's on a string of 6 in a row. Andy, New York State doubles champion in his past, both scratch and handicap, and Greater Buffalo USBC City tournament champion.
Because Andy's a South Towns guy, I don't think that, everyone has always, crossed his path. But now that, because of this show, we've really seen Andy, what he's capable of, and I think he's come to the forefront.
We love our South Towns guys. We don't have enough South Towns guys. Andy and I got to carry the mantle of being South Towns guys here, so we got to do our part. It's all you North Towners and that dominate all the bowling centers.
Well, that strike right there sealed the deal for him, so he's going to move on and continue his streak here of winning the first match.
Yep, well, that's 8 in a row, so we're going to let this play out.
Absolutely.
And see if Andy can finish with an incredible run of strikes here. He struck in frame 1, spared in frame 2, and it's been strikes the rest of the way. So, again, and that's even more amazing when you think of it, that he did not qualify here. He came in cold here. He was not part of the qualifying like Frank was as our #1 qualifier. And again, it helps Andy that he's comfortable and he bowls here on occasion anyway. And that streak of strikes will come to an end at 8, but the streak of wins in a row will go to 3. Andy Rettig victorious over Frank Diminuco. He'll move on for our next match. We'll get you ready for that when Sue and I return. We are off and rolling at Mallwitz's Island Lanes on Grand Island. More Beat the Champ right after this. .269 to .225. Andy Rettig with the win over Frank Diminuco. This isn't really a sport about your opponent until your opponent is the guy who's red hot,
sure.
and there's not much you can do about it, right, Frank?
It seems like the common theme in my last couple of matches. Guys get lined up, they get hot. Even As you say, like stringing him with him, but when he doesn't miss, it's kind of near impossible.
You found a nice little rhythm there in the middle of that match, but even while you're doing that, are you kind of looking over and going, boy, this guy doesn't miss?
You're just hoping to just leave a corner pin, give yourself, try to get some hope there, chance while you're stringing him, but it's kind of near impossible when he's almost dead flawless all game.
Right. Well, Frank did himself a nice job here today. I know we're going to get you that win here sooner or later, but Mike, try to make him feel a little better.
I'm not going to lie. You bowled a great game. Like you said, when he gets red hot like that, there's nothing you can do about it. Even when you left that 9 pin in the 10th, I mean, that was a perfect shot. And, so things like that go your way sometimes. And when you're running into an opponent like that, then there's not much you can do about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Give him something there,
How
will
about
ya?
that? That going to make you feel a little better?
A little bit.
Great,
All right.
Great bowling here.
Thanks.
Frank,
All
good
right,
job.
good stuff. We're off to a great start here at Island Lanes. Andy Rettig with the win. He moves on. Next up, Frank Fitzmaurice. We'll have that match for you when we come back. More Beat the Champ right after this. Well, we got another Andy versus Frank matchup here in match number 2. This time it's Frank Fitzmaurice making his Beat the Champ debut, coming all the way from Rochester. We love it when the show starts to go a little global here, right?
Absolutely.
It's only Rochester. It's not really global, but it's great that Frank watches the show and loves it and is a good bowler in himself and said, you know what, I'm going to make the effort to come in, qualify, and get on the show, and that's great. So first time we're getting our look at Frank Fitzmaurice carrying the mantle of, what is it, the Rose City is Rochester? And Buffalo's the Queen City, I think. I'll check that.
Oh, that got a little in on him.
And that's a little bit of welcome to Beat the Champ. Welcome to being on TV. Welcome to Sue and I yakking behind you.
That's
You
true.
know,
You gotta
and
get
welcome
used
to
that.
Andy Rettig facing you on the other across the ball return. Frank is 33 years old. He is employed as general manager at the Marina Auto Outlet in Rochester. A wobble, but it's not going to go down. So it's an open to start things off here for Frank. And Andy Rettig will slide over, now working 3 in a row. 1-2 at Classic, then comes up with the win over Frank Diminuco. That's now up to 14 Beat the Champ wins, which is starting to inch him towards the top there,
Right.
beyond Zarcone and Jagosinski. Up at the top, there's a whole muddle of guys, 16, 17, 15 wins. So Andy's got a chance to break a little bit of that log jam. And I'll tell you what, you can, just as we talked about in the first match, he's bowling well. It's smooth, it's calm, I don't want to say perfect because I'm not enough of an expert to know whether it is or not, but it's pretty darn close,
No,
isn't
but
it?
that's an excellent demeanor, and there just seems no rush to where he's going. You know, it just seems like he's been there before, and we all know that in sports, that's a good attitude to
Oh
have.
yeah, no question. It shows confidence. When you're relaxed like that, it means you're like, okay, I got this. I know what I need to do.
What's nice for him too is he really does have that easygoing personality about him. Just to talk to him, he just seems like someone who doesn't really get riled. Definitely someone we want in charge of our homeland security. Somebody unflappable.
We need T-shirts. We need a Remain Calm and Trust Andy T-shirts.
Stay calm, Andy's got it.
Stay calm. Andy it's in control. So a spare in the second frame for Andy Rettig. And now we'll slide back over to lane number 8, and Frank will try to shake off that open.
Right.
Got a good cheering section here at Island Lanes in Grand Island. He's got his mom and his dad and his daughter Brooklyn all here cheering him on. Debut performance for Frank Fitzmaurice.
There you go. Very nice.
All it takes sometimes is just that first frame out of the way.
Well, their target is a little bit right of the track. The track is the second arrow, so that would be board 10, and our right-handed players seem to be right around the first arrow, and we'll see that change as we go up through the day. But he wants to not miss left of really that first arrow, and that first shot definitely was inside of that. And Frank played him similar, the first Frank.
How much of a
Ooh.
disadvantage is Frank at because he's not from here and he probably hasn't bowled a lot here at Island Lanes? And, you know, again, most of the guys we have on this show, they bowled everywhere that we go, the travel leagues, whatever. I mean, I would suspect most of the bowlers that we have on our show, they don't have to put it in their GPS or to know where they're going, right?
Well, a little bit. I think he's, you know, we're seeing a little bit of the nerves, and also a little bit of the lack of experience. You're right. These people that we see on the show primarily that have made these great runs, there's a lot of experience there, and they do go from house to house. And if you look at, you know, Frank's got a couple 300s and a nice 770, but we really don't know how much tournament bowling he does. But this looks like it's, you know, just a new experience for him.
Meanwhile, you got a guy like Andy who bowls in the Saturday Travel League, so he gets all over town. Monday nights at Abbott, Sunday doubles league at Wimbledon, and Thursday doubles league at Broadway. So, you know, again, and that those may not necessarily be places that we bring the show to, but I know they're, you know, we talked about how well he bowls a classic, and, you know, if you've been around as long as Andy has bowling in this town, you've been everywhere.
This looks like a good time to take a break. We'll be back with more Beat the Champ right after this. Welcome back to Beat the Champ. You know, it's
Wait, what was that? What was that? Was that a pirouette? A 360 pirouette that we just saw?
Wow.
I don't like to interrupt you, but I out of the corner of my eye, I saw
it.
that, and I needed to make sure that everyone else saw that.
Oh, man, I was talking
And you were
to
making
you.
an incredibly smart, intelligent bowling point, and there goes
Well, leave it to
Mallwitz
Mike to
doing
take
a
that
little
away.
pirouette to completely throw us off.
Oh, wow. What a great shot. There he goes.
See, even when we
Interactive.
force him to be quiet, he can still throw us off.
Nothing like an interactive scorekeeper.
What were you talking about?
Nah, I don't know.
Oh, okay, I know.
I think the point was made.
All right, as we turn here to the backside for Frank Fitzmaurice, starting with frame 6, let's see if he can't show us what makes him such a good bowler, and there's one of them right there.
Rode that rail right
Sure
there.
did, didn't he?
Yep, sure did. It was 0 or 10. I've had many of those in my career.
And there's the numbers on Frank that we mentioned to you. I've had a couple of guys from Rochester make the show over the years, and that's great to see. And even Frank said, he goes, hey, you guys got to bring this show to Rochester.
Which we'd
and
love to, of course.
We'd love to do it. Yeah, what I've noticed with Frank is he's spinning those corner 10 pins, right?
Yeah,
He's,
and that's all angled to the
That's 2 or 3
pocket.
times he's kind of rung that 10 pin.
He's adjusted right. He's done what he's needed to do on this lane, but it just changes the angle of entry into the pocket. Comes in a little late and rings that 10. So he just isn't really matching up that great. You don't need me to tell you that.
So it's a spare in the 7th frame for Frank. And now Andy Rettig, who's working 4 in a row. So he had 8 strikes in a row in the first match on his way to a 269. He's got 4 in a row now. And I think that tells you all you need to know about how Andy is bowling and how comfortable he feels.
Well,
There's 5 in a row.
his timing right now is just perfect. And of course, having great ball reaction really helps you get settled down and lets you get into the shot, because he is just, like you said before, he's pretty perfect right now. And his tempo is great. Mostly I'm impressed with his follow through and how steady he is at the line. Just everything's working for him right now.
6 in a row. And a high five slap of the
from the
hands from the
scorekeeper.
scorekeeper.
Man, they're going to be disappointed.
I
Andy's
say,
going to be disappointed
Janelle
when he
comes
can't be
back,
whacking
right?
on Janelle like
That's
that.
right. When she, yeah.
It's funny though, the scorekeepers have all added a little bit different.
Yes, they have.
Something different for us.
We love Janelle, but it's been nice having some different personalities.
Yep. Well, you know, Janelle's just, who doesn't want to look at Janelle? She's very beautiful up there. And the poor guy right here. That 10 pins just won't let him alone.
It will not.
But you know, Sue's information was nice to contribute something
Yes, it
different
was.
because what she knows about coaching and she knows about ball gelling, and of course, you know, Mike's your consummate cheerleader right here.
Another spare for Frank in the 8th frame.
And not to jump ahead 3 weeks, but we know, I'm sure we can look forward to the entire Grand Island emptying into this bowling center.
I look forward to it every year because it is unique and unlike any of the 4th sort of exhibition shows that we do. It literally is anybody that lives on Grand Island
Is here.
winds up here and bowling as Mike figures out a way to
they
fit
get to make a shot.
37 people onto 2 different teams. And there's a nice strike from Frank in the 9th frame. And we're going to get on our 3rd show one of the regulars in Jeff Crickham, who we have seen on that show before. And if you haven't noticed, Jeff's name is up on the big giant banner there.
Yeah, that's cute.
Jeff
That's
actually
nice.
qualified for the show, so we'll see him in 2 weeks, and then probably see him the week after that. 7 in a row for Andy.
Not to start to predict, but that ball actually started moving a little early for him. It still ended up high flush, but you saw the expression on his face when he was coming back. He didn't quite expect it to do that. So we're going to start seeing changes for him too, you know.
Well, we're just 2 matches in, but already the lanes are starting to bite back a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Incredible. Another string of 8 strikes in a row in back-to-back matches for Andy Rettig. This is a clinic that we're viewing right now, and except the competition's going to start getting a little tougher here. Rocket Rob Piccoli is going to be next up, and then we got Pat Brick on next week's show.
You're
so not that Andy isn't certainly capable, and maybe those guys need to be worried about how well Andy is bowling right now. And once again, the run of strikes comes to an end in the 10th frame, but beyond the point where Andy has things all wrapped up and ready to go.
Another 260 in the bag.
Yeah, so Andy Rettig continues his impressive performances here. And he'll grab that spare, and it's another win for Andy Rettig over Frank Fitzmaurice. 2 in a row to get us started here on Grand Island. Match number 3 coming up, but first we'll check in with Frank when Sue and I return to Island Lanes on Grand Island, back right after this. .268 to 185, the win for Andy Rettig over Frank Fitzmaurice. You finished strong, 4 straight strikes. Like a golfer who birdies 18, you're going to want to get back here, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of fun here. Andy had a great look the whole time. He threw the ball well. I hate to say it, I think my nerves got the best of me in the beginning. Got a little comfortable at the end, but too little too late against a great bowler like Andy.
Well, it's not a small group of bowlers whose nerves have gotten to them a little bit early on this show. Tell us what we should know. We're a Buffalo. We focus on Buffalo. Tell us what we need to know about the Rochester bowling community.
Well, there's a lot of great bowlers in Rochester, just like there is Buffalo. A lot of the guys all bowl in the same tournaments, so guys like Andy, Rob, Pat Brick are guys that I don't even feel like they're from Buffalo because we bowl together so much in tournaments. But both cities, bunch of great guys and a lot of great bowlers representing the 2 cities.
Well, it's good. It's good to have you, and good to have you representing Rochester on our show as well, too. Mike?
Frank, it was a pleasure to meet you, and it was nice hanging out with you and your boys during qualifying. I hope you had fun. Great bowling, during qualifying and everything else. Great bowling on the show. And, dude, seriously, nerves? Like, come on, man. Next time, you got that. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Well, here you go. Here's some cash.
Thank you very much, Mike. Thanks for having us.
I think he wasn't nervous until he saw you do the pirouette over there, and that completely threw him off of his game. So
I'm trying to do Janelle. I'm not. Nobody can be Janelle. Janelle is Janelle.
That is so true
Right?
in so many ways. So, all right, we got one more match, and it's going to be a good one. It's Red Hot Andy Rettig against Rocket Rob Piccoli. Stick around. It's next. All right, here we go. Final match of week number 1 here at Island Lanes, and this shapes up to be a really good one. Clearly, Andy Rettig with 269 and 268 has found it. But here's Rocket Rob Piccoli making his 4th month appearance in a row. I'm not sure the last time that's happened on our show here. So Rob has been incredibly good and consistent. 15th overall appearance for Rocket Rob Piccoli.
And here's another guy that has that unflappable demeanor. You know, he's just always steady. Another guy with great timing and just very calm. Matter of fact.
Yes, Andy has been able to take advantage of rough starts by his last 2 opponents. That will not happen here.
Right. Might be setting up for a 2 new sheriffs in town for 2020 at this rate. It's going to be
Yes.
Rob and Andy, and
Maybe.
we're going to stop talking about Mike and Chuck.
Mike and Chuck will have something to say about that, particularly this month, because we'll see Chuck Jagosinski on our 3rd show. And Mike Zarcone just barely missed being on the show.
Right,
he
he's
was
the
the
alternate.
So.
I think he's outside tripping people as they're coming in.
I wasn't going to go there,
got
but
that
you
string
had
that
no
nobody can
hesitation to
see.
go right there, right now, didn't you? Didn't you?
You got to be careful coming in the front doors
You're going to
today.
hear about that. Mike, that will get back to Mike, and you will hear about that.
Sniper Mike.
So not only has Andy been ridiculously consistent, 269, 268, but he has opened with a strike, spared in frame 2, and then rattled off 8 strikes in a row in both matches.
Right.
Well, that's not going to
time.
happen here, right? Unless he's ready to reverse that
Well,
order.
if he reverses it, he can go 290 instead.
That's true. All right, and now for the first time, first 2 frames do not include a strike for Andy Rettig.
Well, this is about a normal time for real transition to occur. So we talk about the lanes changing subtly, but we've only had 4 real games on these matches, on this pair of lanes. So now what's going to happen is transition will occur, and this is the tough part for the person bowling on it, because this is when the opposite happens, what we talked about before. Now it's a fresh condition to Rob. He's not seen this before. He's got the strength to overcome it. He's got the ball speed, and the shot that Andy's been bowling on all along is starting to change on him. So this is the vulnerable time in the match where you're going to see something different.
15th appearance for Rocket Rob Piccoli. 12 wins and 12 losses is his overall record. Strike in the 2nd frame. I mentioned it's his 4th month in a row that we've seen him on the show. The last time was, of course, last month, where he won 2 and then lost to Andy Rettig at Classic Lanes just a couple of weeks ago.
So this is a rematch.
Oh, it certainly is. It certainly is. So these 2 guys squared off at the tail end of our 3rd show at Classic Lanes, literally just 2 weeks ago. I can even tell you what the score of that match was, if you give me a second. That was a 230-192 win for Andy Rettig over Rob Piccoli at Classic Lanes a couple of weeks ago. And then Andy wound up beating Sean Dietz, and then that advanced him here to Grand Island, where he's already won his first 2. So we mentioned Andy's on a 4-match winning streak. As you get a look at the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard, manned in substitution by Mike Mallwitz.
Oh.
And that's a big mistake there in the third frame for Rob Piccoli. And it's big because of who he's bowling against.
It is, because Andy's got to make a few adjustments on the lanes now because of the changes, but having that open frame gives him that room to make a confident move and not just, little moves.
Andy has opened with a pair of spares, frame 3. And he'll have to try to make it 3 in a row. 15 wins now for Andy, thanks to the 2 that he's notched already here today. He is now tied for 5th on our all-time wins list, tied with Dana Vojtovich at 15 wins, and the guys ahead of him are Jagosinski, Zarcone, Brick, and Zimmerman.
We've seen a lot of Pat Brick lately, too.
Yeah, and we're going to see Pat Brick on next week's show.
That's right. Oh.
And there you go. The guys both matched missing corner pin spares in the third frame. So it doesn't hurt you quite as bad if you do the same thing the other guy did.
This is a perfect example right here of how difficult it is to shoot 800. So this is typically what will happen in your league as well, except that there's a lot more bowlers on the lanes, so the lanes are changing even faster. And we see 260, 260, and that is why, and then you see transition happen, and all of a sudden the strikes are gone. And that is why 800 is such an accomplishment. And I mean, 300 is a great accomplishment, but throwing 3 games together is very difficult.
Andy's high is an 846. Rob's high is an 803. Rob's done it 3 times.
But you will see so many more 300 games for people than you will 800 games.
Oh, it won't go down. Andy got it a little bit right and nudged it, and it wouldn't fall, so that's back-to-back opens for Andy Rettig.
The action will continue on Beat the Champ in just a minute.
Instant replay on Beat the Champ is brought to you by Transit Lanes and Keglers. Join us for bowling, food, and drinks.
Welcome back to Beat the Champ.
Second place finish in the 2016-17 Buffalo Bowlers Tour. Again, another terrific accomplishment for a guy who is kind of rising up the ranks here amongst Western New York bowlers.
Yeah, Rob is here to stay. He's a really solid player, and he puts his time in. Like you named all those leagues that he bowls, that just all makes him a better bowler. Some people don't really respect league, but there's still that competition. If you go into league with the right mindset, and it's just, and you use that as competition, it's great.
Lots of pins sliding left and right, and they're all sliding down and out. So that's a strike for Rob.
Big strike there too, because if Andy starts striking, he can catch up in a hurry. So Rob's going to have to match him from here on in.
Andy's had 2 streaks of 8 strikes in a row in our first 2 matches. He won't be able to get 8 here, but if he can get 4 or 5, that'll be big. And that's 2 now.
So he's got himself within 11. So you're looking at a mark or a double, and he's got this match tied up. So great rally.
Yeah, after 2 open frames in the first for the first 5. So sometimes everything goes the way you want it to, and other times you got to scramble your way to where you want to be.
I think it's a good time to make a point of spares and how important spare making is, because even when you're striking and not thinking about your spares, there's going to be a time you need those spares.
And again, not quite getting the carry that he wants, and now leaving the 4-7 here in frame 8.
Well, he created a lot of area with that ball that he had before, and this one's a good on this condition, but it's no guarantee that it's going to open up the lane the way the other one did. So he's going to have to be real accurate.
And a good pickup to grab that 2-pin spare. So we're heading down the stretch here as Rob toes the line for the 8th frame. And you can see from the Castellone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram scoreboard where we are at, a tight one between 2 titans of Western New York bowling.
Big shot.
Big strike in the 8th frame, 2 in a row for Rob Piccoli.
A double here, he knows is going to put him in the driver's seat and make it very hard for, you know, and the only way Andy can catch up now is if Rob makes a big mistake.
Winner of this match advances to next week's show, where 3 more bowlers await, including Pat Brick. That one never turned in for Rob.
That's a big break. That 10-pin falling down was a huge break.
All right, so what, I know you've addressed it a little bit, but what in your mind has dramatically changed here in this match from what we saw in the first 2 matches?
Well, it's always going to be, well, it's going to start in the front of the lane. The front of the lane is always going to be the first to start drying up on you. And the front of the lane dictates how far down the lane your ball goes. So as that changes, subtly, it'll start to hook a little earlier, and you will barely notice. That's where you'll see like a 6 pin for lefties, 4 pin for righties. But then it'll break down enough to move you in, and now you're back in heavy head oil, and it just changes your angle to the pocket. And this looks like a ball that actually starts up a little sooner, and he needs to be deep.
Yeah, Andy could have really used that strike there.
Yeah.
And the look on his face, I think, tells you that. So he'll play for a 9th frame spare. And he'll get it.
So if he strikes out here, Rob's still only going to need 8 pins total in the 10th frame. So, you know, we got to bowl it out.
Yep.
But if he doesn't strike out here, then it doesn't matter.
It's over. So, all right, pressure's on Andy Rettig to keep his streak going. And he will not get the strike that he needs. And that means it's going to be a win for Rob Piccoli. And this was an odd match. You know, much as we pumped it up and hyped it up when it started, it didn't quite live up to that, did it?
This is transition on steroids. I mean, if this isn't the perfect example of what happens when the lanes start to change quick on you, it shows you how...
That's what's great about this sport, you know. Again, we thought we knew what was going to happen, and we thought this might be a 265 to 260 match, and lo and behold, both guys really, not just one guy struggled who you didn't think would struggle, but both guys struggled, and that's what sports is all about.
We went from a 260 winning the matches to this is going to be a 2-0 was going to win this match.
Yep,
so.
a 179 goes on the board for Andy Rettig after back-to-back 268, 269. So, again, like you said, Rob didn't bowl great either, but it's going to be good enough to get a win. So Rocket Rob Piccoli gets the victory over Andy Rettig. We'll talk to both guys, find out what they think happened in this match, and get you ready for next week's show. When Sue and I return, more from Grand Island coming up next on Beat the Champ. Well, Sue and I aren't quite sure exactly what happened with Rob beating Andy 202 to 179, so we'll ask Rob and Andy after the 268, 269, what happened in that one?
This place is tough. When the lanes change a little bit and you got to move your feet in, you lose your carry. And I did that and missed a few spares, and Rob took advantage.
You tried a ball change. Was it the right time to try it? Did it help? Or?
Well, I guess not.
I guess not. Yeah, I guess not. But that was a big decision you had to make, right?
It was, yeah, it was. And it turned out to be the wrong one. But Rob bowled great, made his spares, and did what he had to.
All right, Mike?
You said it right after the match. Well, like, as soon as the lanes transition and you move a little in here, it's really hard to carry the corner pins. So if you can figure that out, that's how you dominate at this place, okay? Mm-hmm. So my advice to you is just to join a league here. and then you'll know exactly what to do next time. So you're good.
I'll keep that in mind. I think
All
I
right.
got a free night.
That means you'd have to see a lot more of them. So think that decision out before you say yes. Sue?
Well, I'm looking at your list of leagues. The only free night you have is Monday. So are you going to come bowl league here now?
Yeah, I can. I'm available. So, Mike, what do you think?
I think it's a great idea. You used to bowl league here, and you were dominant. So
It's
sign both of you guys up. Here we go.
it's kind of like when you hit somebody here now, isn't it? There, because 268 transition was a good time for you to come in and just take advantage of that, right?
Yeah, I knew the third game of today. I knew the lanes were going to be transitioning a little bit, but I was leaving a little corner pins, couple, and just tried to make my spares. But congratulations to Andy on the 4 games. So.
Are you ready to do this again next week?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, he's ready.
Yeah. I know he's ready, and he's got some great bowlers coming his way, but that'll be on next week's show. Sue and I will come back and wrap up our exciting and interesting first week here on Grand Island when we return for the final segment of Beat the Champ. It's coming up next. Hey, Janelle's back. Welcome back. We're so happy to have you back. Oh, sorry, Mike's still there. Shoot, I'm sorry about that. Janelle is back. She'll take over manning the scoreboard there for the next set of matches. But Mike, you did a wonderful job as always.
Thanks, Paul. I just hope that I honored Janelle's legacy here at the scoreboard. I mean, nobody can live up to Janelle, but I did my best.
Yeah, well, they called me and let me know you were doing it, so I was like, all right.
She flew here.
I flew right over.
Yeah, she flew here. Hey, on the bowling side of things, that was a really interesting first couple of matches, Sue. As we talked about, Andy looked unbeatable, and then the wheels came off, and Rob took advantage.
Absolutely, and again, Mike had alluded to transition is always a challenge, and in this place for people who have bowled here regularly, it's a little bit more here.
All right, so Rocket Rob Piccoli will advance to next week's show. Some great bowlers in line to challenge him, and starting with Pat Brick. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have it for you. Stick around. We'll see you next week on Beat the Champ.